Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Um, Something I was thinking about over the weekend. I'm not 100% sure why, but I was thinking at one time or the other, I lived in Norman, Oklahoma, and when I was a kid, there was an incident of a group of people, two guys, and I think they were brother-in-laws and a female that had gone into a sirloin stockade. If everybody remembers what a sirloin stockade is, and in any event, there were four teenagers, um, 17, 16, 15 years old, all working in the restaurant about 10:30 at night, as well as two adults. They were managers there. In any event, the individual was known as Roger Dale Stafford. It was about 1978. And earlier in the week, Roger Dale Stafford was running around and was out looking for money. So they faked that their car had been broken down out in McLean County, Oklahoma. And there were two people. They were a married couple, both worked for the Air Force in San Antonio, and a 12-year-old son, their boy. And they faked that they needed help with their vehicle. And when the family pulled over, they immediately stuck a gun in their face, and it was a six-shot revolver, and stuck a gun in their face as they exited the vehicle, so on and so forth. And within just a couple of minutes after demanding money from them, Roger Dale Stafford took the pistol, lined them all up so they would be close to one another, and point blank shot the father in the neck, and he died out. Shot the 12-year-old boy who at that point had reacted and was had his hands up and reacted and shot him directly right in the face, killed him, and then killed the mother as well. So he had already had the taste of blood when he went to the Sirloin Stockade. Now, what stuck with me was in the Sirloin Stockade deal, you had six employees that were taken into a freezer, into a meat freezer, and they were all shot execution style. And what stuck with me as a kid was the victims. That I don't know who was shot first, and I don't know who was shot last. But I know that unless it's something that's rapid, there's going to be a couple of moments where it sinks in that there is no mercy coming from this particular individual, and that essentially you're waiting there either to die or you're going to react. And I guess it reflected on a time also when I was a kid. We had moved to Dallas, and I was working in a Long John Silver's in Dallas, up around Beltline Road and Webb's Chapel. It's like Carrollton, Farmers Branch, North Dallas area, or northern downtown Dallas, anyways. And we got robbed on a Friday night, and the guy had put a gun in my head, actually put a 45 in my mouth, and then took us all back to the meat freezer, right? The locker. And all that was going through my mind at the time was the stories of that horrific execution that had happened in Oklahoma City. At that point, you're probably talking, I don't know, what, 6 years earlier, 78, to this was probably about 84, maybe. Um, so, yeah, about 6 years, maybe 7 years before. I remember when we went in the meat freezer, and they put us all in there. The first thing that I did, they have those big rolling metal stainless steel carts that you put food on whenever you're putting it in the meat freezer, and they have the legs on them that are pretty long, and they're poles, and they weigh probably a good, I don't know, 8 pound, 10 pound solid stainless steel. And I grabbed one of those, I pulled it out of the thing, and I remember my manager, I was waiting to see if these guys were going to come back in. And I remember my manager telling me to stop, just be quiet, and, let them leave, and so on and so forth. And I wasn't going to have it, man. I mean, if they had come back in there, I wasn't going to depend on their mercy. I was just going to start swinging and hopefully catch the first one in the head, make him drop his gun or whatever. And I was 16 years old, I guess, something like that. In any event, um, we talk a lot about these murders. We talk a lot about the mental issues related to people committing these horrific crimes. Far too often, we fail to address the victimology. We fail to address, um, obviously the long-term effects of that. I think there's some element of issues that come along with it, but how a person reacts in that moment of high stress and trauma is also an interesting study. Um, I don't think it's as simplistic as, a lot of people will tell you, are you the sheep or are you the lion? I don't know if that's the answer to it, but I know it bears further exploration, and I think it's something that I'm going to look at deeply. I've got a class that I'm teaching coming up, and I know that there's a section on victimology, and I think I'm going to use that as a segue to really have a discussion to say it's not just the longer term effects that we need to look at; it's how that person reacts in that one particular moment. Uh, Anyways, like I said, I find it interesting. Just wanted to share that with you. Uh, Not sure why that came back in my mind, but it did. So thank you very much, and we'll see y'all next time.